All right, cool. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy pre-Father's Day weekend. My man Fedora's in the house. What is going on, my friend?
What's going on with you? You had a big week this week, man. You had a big week. They
Oh,
they they watching you. Real recognize real. You're not unrecognizable anymore, man. You had a big week.
oh man, yeah, I was shocked a little bit myself. Coincidences are what they are, you know what I mean? So, it is
I,
what
I
it
don't
is,
I
man.
don't believe
I
in that.
I I, I just I thought it was coincidental, but like you said, coincidence. You don't believe in coincidences. Coincidences, right?
No, that's a little too. That's a little too. The
Yeah, yeah.
timing was a
Hold
little
on
too
one sec. My
inappropriate on that.
my shit's not working real. Hold on a second here. What is up with my shit? Okay. Damn. Hold up. I'm having technical difficulties. Hold on a second. Let's take this off. You know what? We're just gonna do this. Whatever. Can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you like regular. Now I can't hear you. If you're talking, I can't hear you. Now I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my AirPods were connecting to everything except for the computer. So there it is what it is. Uh, Christopher, I'm not sure if you're in the house, but thank you for coming through. And yeah, man, just kind of a I would say quick show today because you got a lot of stuff that is very we were talking about a little bit about it the past couple weeks or so, but yeah, kind of a lot of good stuff. I was looking through your presentation today and a lot of Pokemon 150. Is that what it's called?
151. Yeah, 151.
151. Why is it called 151?
They're doing like an anniversary set. They usually do it every now and again, but
Oh, okay. Cool.
they got their little holiday. They did it for
Holiday.
the 25th anniversary.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's do the introduction real quick, and then we'll get into the show. All right, sweet. Yeah, man. Yeah, just a lot of crazy stuff. I sold my all new Ultimate Spider-Man. I think yesterday. I want to say,
What is that the first
and
appearance of? Is that anything significant? I don't know what the hell that is.
yeah, dude. So a few years back, I was looking, I was watching Mighty Mel V and the Ninth Wonder, and then Batcave Comics is actually where it came from. But they were talking about this particular issue, and here, I could pull it up. Everybody knows what it is, but here, I'll just pull it up. And I know today's kind of like our manga Pokemon show, but I'll just pull it up just for fun. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. So it's this book. It's Ultimate Comics All New Spider-Man #5. I don't think it's the origin of Miles per se, but on the last page, his homie, Ganji or whatever his name is, I can't remember his name, but he says, "You are now Spider-Man." So, like the first appearance of him is in UF4 as Miles, but
This is
if
the
you
first
read
of him as Spider-Man.
correct, so it's kind of like Cassidy, Carnage, Eddie Brock, Venom, that kind of thing. So, I bought it for $3, man. I was like, I'm not a big Miles guy personally. I like him. He's exciting. Like, I'll buy the video game, I'll play it, I'll watch the movies, all that stuff. But like for me personally, I'm more of a static guy, to be honest. Um, for whatever reason, I just think Stack's a more original character versus Miles being like Spider-Man, whatever. But
I
like,
get what you mean.
he's he's still cool though. I mean, like he's still dope and all that. Oh, I can't say dope. I'm too old to say dope. But yeah. So I just I listed it at $1 for 7 days, and 620 was my last price at 9.8. So I got super lucky.
Yeah,
Uh,
lucky. That's not even the word. That's like, like I don't even know you buy something for like $1 and then you make $600. Listen, there's probably something in my long box there that could do that, but I don't like to
Right.
get in trouble.
Yeah. So, it was cool. What's up, Tomb? Oh my goodness, we got a legend in the house, Tomb. One of the really good guys in comic books, man, for sure.
Thanks for
And then
checking us out today.
Yeah, Manny the Hobgoblin Collector, my homie, my Hobgoblin Collector for sure. Thanks for joining us today. But yeah, man, it was pretty exciting. Then what you talked about with kind of our show on Sunday, with the Johnny Homicidal Maniac Noctum, the Noctum #1 magazine. That was kind of funny with Key Collector and stuff. So is what it is. Yeah. Man, that originated from you though. I can't take full credit for that.
Listen,
man.
I don't. You made the purchase. You put it out there. I just tap you on the shoulder. I just say whatever if you're not making the moves to do it.
Right.
But other than that, I think like this week has been like kind of interesting for like a lot of for Pokemon in general, because there's a lot of Pokemon stuff. A lot of exciting things happened. A lot of interesting things happen, and a lot of worrying things are happening. So that's
yeah,
a lot of scary things, and I'm like, ooh,
all right,
that doesn't look so good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was going through your slides and whatnot, and obviously, it's not my slides, but yeah, it was kind of weird stuff I was reading about. So yeah, we'll check it out. You ready to do this, or
yeah, we're ready to roll. I
right,
can't see the chat, so if anybody's saying anything in the chat, hello, I love you. Thank you for watching.
Let's see. Yeah, Tunes in the chat for sure. Okay, let's just do this real quick. All right, man. Can you see the presentation in full?
So this is like issue
Wow.
1 and issue 2 of Weekly Shonen. It sold for 8 G's. So this is kind of like their Action Comics 51, I guess, or whatever the equivalent to that would be, like their first appearance Superman, whatever. I was surprised it went for this much money. I thought it'd be a little less when I was like looking into it, but yeah, man, this is pretty much where it all began. Like starting from like we got Goku, Luffy, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like all these iconic characters started from this one book, 1968. So I just kind of wanted to open with that, just open with something real quick, just to kind of introduce what the channel is about. Really, not much happens with Weekly Shonen. It's kind of a very, very niche market. So it's really hard to get like sales and things like that. So there's no websites dedicated to like past sales and things like that we could like rummage around and look through. But this one was something that I kept in the back pocket that I wanted to like bring out on a dry day. So, but yep.
Dry day.
Yep. So I remember last week I kind of spoke about it. I think somebody asked me like, "Hey man, like what's a good set to like to kind of buy and like just keep it sealed?" And then I said this one. And I usually don't talk about the Japanese market a little too much because it's going crazy. But so the booster boxes in Japan are like $40, right? And then after shipping, it'll be like $60. So people are buying this, buying essentially was like a $40-$50 booster box for $135. $135. I've seen some for $150. And the weird part about this is that the Pokemon company kind of more or less knew that this was going to generate a lot of hype. And they put, like, you go to the Pokemon Center and it's one per customer for a pre-order. And then they're doing like an open order. But the fact that this is still selling at that price, even, the retailers have an open order. It's one per customer everywhere you go in the stores. Is that like that's crazy? That's like I'd never seen nothing like that before. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see some of the cards. So this Mew card is still bidding, and one's for 137, another one's still bidding at 152. But so this is the card that like everybody wants. But the neat thing about this card is that when you move the card, you see the sunset.
Yeah.
The sunset is hollow. So
Whoa.
so the sunset is holographic itself. So
Huh.
that was like super dope, and everybody's going crazy for that one. So that's like the big chase card.
Mhm.
But if you could just hit us with the next slide. So this I think it's ridiculous. So this is a reverse hollow, and they're doing like a 1 per box on these reverse hollows, and
Okay.
each box is gonna have a different reverse hollow master ball card or whatever. And I think reverse hollows are ugly, but
Yeah.
I've seen some of these up. I've seen this one specifically up for $700. 700,000 yen, which would be the equivalent to like $600-700 American dollars, and that's like insane. Like a reverse hollow, bro. Like that's, even if it's 1 per box, like it still looks like a regular trainer card. And you see bids, it's already up $200.
That's crazy.
It is. And then there's a full art, like these waifu cards are like, as what they call them. They're making a lot of money with those over there overseas. But you can just hit us with the next slide. So this is some of the art, the illustration rares that they call them, and that Poliwhirl and that Blastoise looks great. It looks really good. I really like the art. Like 151 set came out swinging with the art, but we're getting the 151 set in September, and again, as I said before, last week, just be careful if you want to buy these things. Just wait a few months. All these prices are going to come down, because there's another set coming after this one in Japan. I think it's Obsidian Flames or something like that. I don't really remember what it's called, but just calm down and don't feed into the FOMO, because this is open order. You know what I'm saying? And it's coming to America. So just don't spend ridiculous prices on these cards. But that Poliwhirl, if you want to buy it now, it's like $6. So if it's looking good, it's not gonna get any lower than that. So it's a $6 card. The Blastoise is $30. It'll ship from Japan. I don't know if the Blastoise is gonna go any lower, but $30 is not bad for like a chase card. I guess people want that card. A lot of people were talking about that card.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and Blastoise doesn't really get a lot of like super neat cards, you know. So
it's very different.
It's a really beautiful card. So last week on your show, you spoke about stuff that you regret buying, and so that it kind of inspired me to kind of like put together my own mini segment of so a PSA 10 Neo Genesis Lugia sold for $120,000. You heard it right. You go on PSA website, check it right now. 120,000, well, 128,000 to be split, or 29,000, something like that. 2022, that same card sold for $28,000. You talk about a drop. For if you bought this card,
you're done. You're done. You're on the street.
Bro, that's crazy. And the previous sale before this one was $12,000. So that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the most ridiculous drop I've ever seen in the hobby ever. And people were going crazy for this card because Lugia is one of those cards where it was like a big deal because Lugia was getting introduced into the Pokemon movie. The Gold and Silver games are coming out, and a lot of us were really hyped to get any news on what the new Pokemon would be. So this one was a big one. I remember my friend, he had the first appearance of Lugia in a card, and it was like a Topps Chrome, and we had to like move it to see it because it was like a weird. You know how like ASM 365, the cover has like that weird. So it was a card like that, and we were trying to like see it. We were trying to see what it was. But so I understand like Lugia, what it means, you know, to the hobby, you know. Because this was like the first speculation card. Like we're all speculating, like, oh man, like what is it gonna be? Like what type? Like we were thirsty. But you can hit us with the next.
Oh my god.
So this is base set Charizard, just regular. PSA 9, it went for $7,000 in 2020. Just the other day, it went for $867.
So this is the base one. When you say base, like, isn't there one prior to this one? First edition, right?
No, this is not first edition. This is just like regular, just base set.
Gotcha. Okay.
So PSA 9, like $7,000 for a PSA 9, for a card that was heavily printed. That's a lot. And I remember people were selling like beat raws, like raws that were beat for like 1,200. I have one myself. I mean, it was given to me in near mint condition. I never graded it or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, the drop off for this is like huge. I know now PSA 9 it could go for 867 to like 1,200. So it really depends on, you know, the day, who's bidding, who really wants it. But everybody during the pandemic, everybody thought that this card was going to be like, I mean, it still is the Jordan card of like, but everybody thought that they were going to get Jordan value out of that card. But it's still a grail, to be honest.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, like everyone recognizes that card, so that right there tells you it's a quote unquote grail. You know what I mean? So, 867 doesn't seem too bad to me, but the first edition PSA 9, does that go for quite a bit more?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that was just to illustrate that everybody really, really wanted that card. Like everybody really wanted it. That they were paying 7Gs, not even for a PSA 10, for like a PSA 9, like not first edition. Just it was insane. But you can hit us with the next slide. So we spoke about this card numerous times, and so we see like a lot of like I wouldn't call this like FOMO, but there was definitely a lot of hype around this card, and the BGS Black Label went for $12,000, and this was back in February, and it was sold through PWCC, and April 29th, 2023, another one sold for $4,000. So that was more than half of what it was worth like a few months ago. But I still think 4Gs is still a considerable amount of money. You know, it didn't drop that bad, but I don't know if it's going down, because BGS has been very generous with giving out black labels these days, from what I see and from what we've been discussing on the Pokemon investment groups in Facebook, Instagram, whatever. So I don't know if the BGS black label means as much as it used to, and you'll see why later in the show. But just keep this in mind, you know, just remember this specifically when we go through our next topic. But you can.
Yeah, man, that's. Do you think like I submit sports cards to Beckett all the time. I have this card which is a 10, but the only thing I missed on is the centering. Everything else is a 10. Corners, surface, edges. And I didn't get the black label. I got pristine grade, but I missed on the centering. Now, centering on this card, obviously, like, I mean, it's pretty easy to get, because centering is the hardest thing with Beckett, in my opinion. Like, because it's like you can't control that really, you know, like even if it comes out perfect out of the pack or whatever, if it doesn't come out off the presser, you know, it's just something you can't control because it's already been printed. But with this card, it does seem easier to get a pristine now, you know, compared to like a card that's like in the middle or like has to be centered, right? Because I mean, the centering's not really like you can't really uncenter that, right?
No,
I mean, I don't
no.
know. Okay, yeah, because there's no border. It's just which is
There's a lot of people that they really know what centering is and things like that. Like they all. I mean, I'm not a professional grader.
Me either.
You know, I don't know. I don't know how these Pokemon fanatics they know.
Yeah.
But it's much harder to get like a perfect centering on a baseball card from like the 80s and the 90s where they
It's
had like an
impossible.
old flim flam machine, you know.
Right.
But it's interesting, but it's a lot of things going on that I feel like may be affecting it.
Sure.
So you put me onto this card actually, and what ended up happening was that I did a lot of research on it, and obviously I know who Lily is, and she's a trainer in Pokemon games, whatever.
Right.
So this is the Battle Day Lily card. It was a promo card, and you got a special pack of cards in a tournament if you were like a finalist or semi-finalist, and if you won or whatever, you were given a pack of cards by rarity, like the higher you went up. But in order to enter this tournament, you had to be chosen, right? So depending on where you place, you get a pack of cards, and then you get a rare card. So this was one of those rare cards that you got, and with the popularity of the waifu cards, this just went absolutely stupid crazy. $100,200. That's like I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. That's ridiculous.
And is she like a pretty well known trainer? Like, or is it just like she's just blonde and like pretty, and that's why it's gone for so much?
Yeah, I mean, more or less.
Yeah.
She's not really like. There's no kids that watch Pokemon that go, "Oh my God, Lily."
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen a cosplay Lily before, right?
Me
So
either. Oh, maybe we might now.
yeah, with 100K, I mean, somebody dressing up, someone's happy.
Yeah.
Either the seller or the buyer's happy about
Yeah,
that.
right.
You know what I mean? That's crazy, man. Like, it still astonishes me when you show me, like, I still think about the one show that you put out, the Infinity Stones of Pokemon.
Oh yeah, those are real
And
grails. Those
yeah,
are real. Like this. What is this?
I don't know, man. But like that's like that. Not only is it a grail, but the nostalgia of playing that game and then, you know, clicking the button to hoping that you won one of those cards and then getting it. It just hits all of those like little things, right? And then it's so funny how Pokemon is really, because like, man, when I was growing up, we had promo cards. Like, I think of a promo card growing up as like you'd go to like the dentist or you go to like a baseball game or something dumb, you know, and they give you like a promo card.
Mm.
And it was like in cellophane or whatever, and you'd rip it open, and if it wasn't your favorite player, you just chuck it, you know?
That's ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just because back in the day, like in the early 90s, like cards were just mass printed, like it was like stupid how much they mass printed cards back then, but so whenever like I got into Dragon Ball Z a little bit, and they used to give out Dragon Ball Z cards in VHS tapes.
Really?
And yeah. And again, I just throw them away, you know. And then like when you go to card shows, they give you promo cards to like, promote their card or their game or whatever it is. It's a throwaway thing. So when you bring up promo cards to like me, it's so foreign of like a collectible because I just would throw those things away. It's like a Cracker Jack box, you know what I mean? So anyway, it always amazes me when you show me these promo cards and they do what
Dragon
they
Ball Z
do.
trading cards have like a market too. Like
Yeah, big
people
time.
people are super into them still to this day. I should probably like look into those. Speak to some people I know.
I've tried to look into it. It's like it's hard. I guess I just get lazy, but like the thing with Dragon Ball Z when I was quote unquote playing it was you had different versions of like Goku and Gohan or whatever, and like I stopped playing when it was like level 2 Goku. So he never got to like, the level 4 Saiyan or whatever it was. I can't remember. I mean, it was so long ago, but it just didn't seem. It didn't have like, communities back then. You didn't really have online presence, so it was just regional. So like if you had a guy playing Dragon Ball Z in New York, you're never gonna play with him because he lives in New York. But if you had it in like your college town, it would grow. But if you didn't, it was dead. You know what I mean? So
in the Bronx, all the trading card heads would meet up at the movie theater in the food court in the movie theater, and then they'd play. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this is ridiculous.
yeah, Max City says like, and that's cool too. Those types of promo cards were cool because it incentivized you to keep playing the game, and then like it incentivized you to really try. Like I gotta get my stuff good to go or whatever. So anyway,
the thing about Broly is that he's like a special character because
right.
I don't think that he's ever appeared in any of the weekly shonens and in any of the mangas. He's like a strictly like a movie character. He only shows up in the movies, I think. Don't quote me, but I don't think I've ever seen him in any of the mangas that I've read for a very long time. I think they might have spoken about him. They might have like put it into canon that a said movie has happened, but I think that like if you have anything physical of Broly, like a card of Broly, like from back in the day, that I would assume that would be a lot of money because he's not in any media
right
that you could read. So
yeah, and Broly is kind of like Trunks was my favorite Dragon Ball Z character, but Broly had like he was just like kind of a badass, like in every bit of the word, I guess, quote unquote. But he wasn't like a mainstay character,
no.
So anyway, look at Pickles here. Look at that card like it's Sears. Shut up. Anyway.
So like this series is Poncho Pikachu. So it's a bunch of cards with Pikachu and a poncho, and it's just different cards, like different Pokemon. So everybody, I guess people speculate that once the waifu train stops chugging, that everybody's gonna start moving to the Poncho Pikachu, and I mean, I don't know, like all these promo cards are weird because they have like these like Japanese, these weird version exclusives, and they were worth nothing like several years ago. So like I don't know, several years ago you could just buy a box of Poncho Pikachu sets and they really weren't worth much. And even the Super Mario, they did like a collab with Mario, the Pikachu Mario cards, and now those are worth something. But $7,000, 7,100, and 7,400 for a PSA 10 Poncho Charizard Pikachu. Hey man, that seems and this guy, it's from the same seller too. I don't know, like the same seller sold two of them for 7,000 and 7,400. So he made $14,500 off of just those 2 sales.
So,
Insane.
man, sorry, go ahead. You're gonna say something.
No, I said that's insane.
Like, okay, so how does a card that came out years ago that was worth nothing, like you said, you could buy just like a set of them or whatever, you could just buy them on point. How does that go from $10, for example, to $7K in 7 years?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know how, but from what I know, like it's obviously like it's all hype, right? Like people
Sure.
hype it up, the stores hype it up. But I was watching a podcast from this Japanese seller, and he was just pretty much breaking it down how like some of the stores in Japan, they'll like clear out everything on eBay. Like let's just say, I don't know, Voltorb is like the card, right? They'll buy 100 Voltorbs and then they'll all put them in their shops for $150. So a lot of these trophy promo cards, what they'll do is, like, even if they're gonna lose, they'll probably buy all the trophy Pokemon cards that they can, and then they'll mark it up because the stores control the market, and
Right.
if you go on the Japanese Facebook selling groups, when they put up a card to sell, they don't put the price. You have to message them personally. Whereas when you go on the Facebook groups in America, you say people post like, "Hey, I'm selling this card, market price. I'm open to like taking offers, etc., etc." What that is that so when they sell the cards on the Facebook group, they like if I'm selling a card on the Facebook group, if I'm Japanese, this is what I've heard on the podcast. I would contact the store and then say, "Hey man, how much are you selling this card for?" And then it'll be like, "Oh, I'm selling this for like 100 whatever."
Right.
And then that's what I would put the card as. Or when I would tell the person that I'm gonna give the card, or vice versa, the person will call the store and be like, "Hey, like what's this what's this going for?" Some dude's trying to sell me one. So that's more or less how they do it. And then also there's a lot of now what they're doing is they're having these virtual games where you buy digital packs and they open it for you, and whatever you don't want, you can give it back to the digital shop for store credit, right? And then they'll give you points for the cards. So if you keep on going to these stores, you'll do a raffle. Like you'll pay your store credit to have a chance to get a Poncho Pikachu. And then if you win it, it's like whatever, it's store credit anyways. So what are you gonna say?
It's just so weird to me how, because you've talked about a couple, and like with comic books, it's a little different, right? Because like, market manipulation is whatever it is, right? Like, but there's something within the guts, or there's something like a rumor that is actually, can come to fruition, like on screen. So like the easiest way in comic books, right? This is like, there's rumors that Fantastic Four are gonna, or that's not a good analogy. America Chavez is gonna be in a movie soon, and so that $10 Vengeance #1 that no one gave a shit about, it goes up to $100 to $200. So, but there's something behind it, right? There's an actual like film or something. This is just a promo card, yeah. I guess there's that behind it, but it's Pikachu in a weird poncho, and these card shops just say that seems cool. We can get 100 copies of it for $100. Let's scoop them all up because no one else is paying attention to it, and then create this artificial market, like art basically, and then we'll just see what happens. And it's okay because we only risked $100. I don't know. That's what from what you explained it to me. That's what it sounds like, and that's just so That's tough, man. That's tough, I think, for the sellers to try and make a buck, and it's really odd for the buyers to react that way. Because, like, I gotta imagine someone who's spending 7 grand times two, um, they probably have a lot of money, and B, they probably have a lot of Pokemon. So why in particular would they want this one for 7 grand? That's the question I'm asking myself, not necessarily you. And it just baffles me how the Pokemon market, as I'm learning, is just so different from. It's just hard to understand what goes like trainer cards are now going up for money. Like you've shown a couple of sales.
Reverse
It's
hollows.
reverse hollows are just like and so it's like now I don't even want to like open packs because I don't want to throw anything away. But like you just get stacks of cards, man, and like pretty soon. Well, what is it? Friday, June 16th, 2023. Pretty soon, those holofoil like those holofoil energy cards. Those are gonna start blowing up. $50 a pop. Just once.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I wouldn't be
It's
surprised.
crazy.
I
guess
that wouldn't surprise me.
and I understand buyers aren't smart, especially FOMO and all that stuff, but like this is like very genius in a way, kind of like because you're creating a market. I wouldn't say organically because you're taking supply and demand, but you as a seller are focusing on something that's worth nothing 6 years ago, and now it's worth 7 grand, from what I'm understanding. That's just hard to me. I mean, like I wouldn't say it's pure genius. It sounds very like art market. Like the art market's controlled by like 30 people, that kind of thing. That's just kind of what it sounds like to me. But anyway, I'm kind of going off.
No. You're right. I mean, it and I'm pretty sure they lose too. I'm pretty sure they try and pump shit, and everybody's like, I don't want this.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess for them, it's like, okay, what's like cool, what's cute, what's like, what's sellable,
Mm-hmm.
and is it worth $7,000? I don't know. Like I don't know.
46, 38 bids. I'd be curious to see who the other bidders are or how many bidders they had, but that's a lot of bids, man. So it's legit somewhere. Anyway.
So this is a crazy one. So we spoke about the BGS black labels. We spoke about a lot of the stuff. So I was on Reddit and some dude bought a PSA 8 Umbreon / Moonbreon VMAX, and he posted. I remember the first initial post, like he was asking everybody, like, "Yo, like this kind of looks pretty good. How did it get an 8?" And then everybody was speculating, and then he was just like, "You know what? I'm gonna send it to BGS." A few weeks later, he gets a black label. So now, going back to what I originally said, if everybody was watching, I'll just refresh your memory. In February, that sold for $12,000. April, that sold for like 4,000 something. Now, like, are these things the reason why? Like, is the BGS black label becoming like, Are they giving out more now? Maybe, because the way I look at it is like now you got ARS, that new Japanese grading company that we spoke about last week. They have fantastic slabs, by the way. We got CGC, we got PSA, BGS. So, now it's like, why should I go to Beckett? Like CGC seems sexy. PSA, they're pretty lenient on grades sometimes. So like the only reason why people go to BGS is to have a chance at getting the pristine black label. So now it's looking like people might be, I mean, BGS might be giving some out more. I don't know. It's weird. Like I don't. What?
I don't. I prefer BGS as a collector because I like how they break down each grade. Like they do corners, centering, all that stuff. And they take longer than PSA. It's the case is a little thicker. I don't know. To me it presents better in my opinion. But I'll pay that extra $10 for the breakdown versus PSA. It's like, okay, one, you're not getting a half points, and then two, you don't know. Like this PSA 8, it could have had smudges on it, like fingerprints, where if you break it open and you clean it, you can get those smudges out. So, like for example, for me, if I see a BGS that is like centering's 10 or 9.5 and above, center corners are 9.5 and above, edges are like good to go, but the surface is like 8 and it's selling, it's a BGS 8.5, I'll buy it, crack it open, clean it if it's foil, and just, resubmit a Beckett and hope for that 9.5. For example, like with this card, let's see here. That's a bad example. Let's use this one. So this card right here, it's a I don't know if you can see that, but it's a surface 10. So I got this at 8.5 surface.
That's insane.
Yeah, I just cut it, cleaned it, with you can buy an applicator basically and then clean it. And it came back a 10, and I bought this. It's an 8. It went from an 8.5 to a 10. So that's me personally, my kind of like thing with Beckett. I know PSA's kind of preferred one for Pokemon, but I mean, look at how it presents better than the other one. I mean, you got, I don't know if the guy who, it may have got a PSA 8 because the surface was bad, right? Like I just said that before. I'm sorry repeating myself, but he may have, and who knows, right? This guy may have cracked it open in PSA because it's super easy to crack open PSA slabs, cleaned it out, resubmitted to BGS, and the only issue with it, we won't know because it's PSA, is that it wasn't clean on the surface. I don't know. But to caveat on your point is, yeah, maybe it's like the data's not like specific. It's not, you can't go to Beckett and say, how do you guys do your, versus like, hey, how do you explain this? And Beckett's just going to say, all Beckett's going to say is, well, we have different standards, or we can't speak to how this was submitted to us. We didn't crack it open and like, press it or clean it or whatever. Right. So
yeah,
that's how they protect themselves legally, I assume. I'm not an attorney, so like, don't quote me on that. But that's the only thing I can really think about, because PSA isn't specific on why that card came out to a PSA 8. So, and grading, man, it's so arbitrary, right? Because here's the dumb thing about grading here, and I'll let you go to the next slide, is the market, example, because it's the easiest one, right? CBCS got so much crap because they graded tougher than CGC. And so everyone was like, I can only get 9.6s at CBCS. I'm going to start going to CGC because, one, it's 2 weeks like quicker, it's cheaper, and they get more 9.8s. And the market even values them more than CBCS. But there was this really small community that said, no, CBCS is the best because they do grade harder. So in actuality, a 9.8 CBCS should be worth more than a 1 at CGC. But the market's not like that because collectors are weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but with Beckett, it's like that. The black label is worth considerably more than any PSA 10.
Okay. See, I believe that more than I do. And see, I think that's the superiority that Beckett has over PSA, in my opinion. But I know Beckett.
So for Pokemon, a PSA 10 versus a black label BGS, a PSA 10 would be a PSA 9, and a black label would be a PSA 10. Like, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense. And I mean, you look at it, like, the only thing with it, like, PSA just, and the thing is, PSA can never like undo this. Like, a pristine 10 with 4 different grades on it, it just presents so much better than a PSA 10.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So it's a no-brainer. So anyway, it's a good discussion to have, because it's like, until the market says we want to go PSA, we want to go Beckett, it's just going to go with where the market wants to go, right? So, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard to differentiate.
It is. No, I agree. You can hit us with the next slide.
Cool.
So this weird thing happened on Reddit where this guy came on Reddit and he works for one of the big rating companies. He didn't say which one, and then he just left a paragraph that was this. I'm on a phone, so I can't read everything, but he was essentially like, the grading system is BS. You know, if it's busy, during the busy seasons, they're tougher on grades. During the relaxed season, grades are more lenient because I guess they just want to look at it and get it over with. But he was saying that like when he grades, you have 1 minute to grade the card. You have 1 minute to look at it, decide what it is, and then put it in the case. And then he was also saying that like a lot of people that work, whatever company, I'm assuming he's in PSA. I'm going to assume he works for PSA. But he says that a lot of, people that work there, like managers and things like that, they get to grade their friends' cards. So if you're grading your friends' cards, like you could give it whatever grade you want, right? So if I'm a manager at PSA and you're sending in your cards, I'm going to take your card and I'm going to go, these are my boy Ferd's submissions. Don't worry, I got this. I'm going to give you all 10s, and I'm going to be like, yo, when you sell it, just cut me off 20% off the top. And you're like, okay. Like,
yeah.
So
unregulated markets, man, like that's what collectibles are. There's no regulation in markets, so there's no foresight, and there's no way that there's ever going to be, which is the risky thing, right? And this type of stuff you hear in even regulated markets as well. But the fact that what makes me sad about this article is that the people that are grading cards, that just don't make money. They don't make, and when Blackstone took a stake in CGC, a lot of people were like, "Oh man, this is the end of collectibles." And in actuality, that announcement was kind of the start of the downfall of comics. It always happens when big corporate America wants to take over like kind of a small niche or whatever. I knew at that point that people that are making the money are the managers and the founders of the company, which they should, but it's not like the money's going to go out to increase salaries for those people that are working like nonstop, right?
And those dudes are making $15 an hour. So what? Like, what do they care about if you're PSA 8, PSA 10 should be a PSA 9 because he gave it a PSA 8? Like they don't care. And but as you were saying,
and I what's going to happen is, and this is just me personally as well, like I submitted like crazy during whatever, and now it's like a 2 week, 3 week window you can get your magazines and comic books back. I think it just has to do with the lack of submissions, and then like there's just the inventory is so high on graded slabs, and everyone's grading their next FOC Spider Boy or whatever. Not as much anymore, I want to say, but I've stopped doing submissions just because CGC seems to be a little bit more discreet and tougher on grades.
Yeah, but I sent in my Frank Miller Wolverine 1 and it got a 9.6, and I'm like, how, Sway? How? It's perfect.
It's ridiculous.
Everybody's telling me to crack it and resubmit it, and I'm like, bro, like fuck it, bro, like.
Yeah, and if you crack and resubmit it, you could pre-screen it, but if it doesn't get a 9.8, you have a raw book and you have no idea what it is. So there's that too. I used to do like 50 book submissions and then just crank them out, because it was taking so long. Now I'm doing like 8 to 10, and I'm being very picky with the market, because the market's they're not valuing second print or second, they're not valuing like second appearances like they used to, or third appearances, or like team appearances.
Meetups, it's the first
meetups, man, are done, man, right? Or like fucking Tosin or whatever. Like, I don't know, Black Panther's daughter, that type of stuff, right? So, or not Black Panther's daughter, but
no one
you know,
cares about
this is a manga show. What are we talking? We're not talking about.
yeah. Let's. Long story short, this guy was talking, he was just saying that like no one cares. We're all underpaid. So if your grades are fucked up, like, hey man, like people are miserable. We don't have enough time to really inspect the cards. Like people are grading their friends' cards. They're reaping all the benefits. Some people get to grade their own cards. Like, so he was just saying like, I see a lot of misconceptions and people angry at the graders. But look, man, like it's a tough job and it's a thankless one. But you can hit us with the next slide.
Boom.
So this was the manga report. So this is a manga called Air Gear. And it's like a inline skating anime, but it's like an inline skating with shonen battle in it as well. A lot of people really, really like it. So as you can see, like the complete set went for like $620. Some of the other 1 through 12, I think, or 1 through 19 went for 130. People like Air Gear. I've seen one episode of Air Gear, but recently I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it, so I looked into it, and I'm like, man, like that's a lot of. I didn't know that they had a lot of fans, but
I have a question for you before we go to the next slide. So, with paper being, like a lot of people read digital, right? And I think I actually do have rollerblades, Southpaw Brad. That was a big thing in the 90s, but they probably don't fit me anymore. But so, like when I went to Barnes and Noble, I was looking at like manga and like it's pretty affordable. However, are I guess forget the paper part. Do videos, like do the actual like anime like shows, do they go for good money?
Yeah, they do.
Or is it okay?
The DVDs, yeah, they do.
Okay, I was just curious.
I've been looking into it, but the DVDs, some of like the DVD box sets, those go for a lot. Actually, I was helping some girl on Facebook look for like some DVDs that she wanted because like some store, she said that she had bought something from a store, but I told her to get a refund because there's no way that they're selling that old anime DVD for that cheap. Like I was like, that's definitely a reproduction, and I'll help you find it on eBay. She ended up buying the original stuff on eBay, and she was really happy with it. But that's also like, things that people got to look out for when you buy like these DVDs. Like a lot of them are like reproduction, like from like some random website from Abunga, like so like Susquehanna.com. I don't know, but yeah, the DVDs are worth something. I mean, I guess all media is, right? Like the Blu-rays go for a lot in anime. The VHS, I'm not too sure, but I know DVD is pretty big. I should probably look into that. That'll probably
for sure.
be next week's episode.
There
the week next month. So Eye Shield 21. So that buy it now was I think 500. Yeah, it was 500. 550, 500. And then that one is $825. Eye Shield 21. This is like one of those like legendary sports animes. Hajime no Ippo and Eye Shield 21. When I was a kid, like those were kind of like the big three of the sports anime. So yeah, that was like I mean, I'm surprised that it went for that much, but yeah. You can hit us with the next slide.
Okay. Go for it.
And then this one is called Bastard. So this one is kind of like a heavy metal fantasy. This was kind of like Berserk before Berserk was a thing. And it was a best offer for $200 and $400. And It's very heavy metal inspired, and you see like a lot of like heavy metal band names in there. And this one still has a lot of fans. People still cosplay it in conventions and things like that. I mean, even when you look at the cover, that looks like a Exo Manowar cover or something like
It
that.
does.
Yeah, so it looks pretty good, man. It's very what's that company? 2000 AD. It looks very like that.
I don't know.
They
Sorry.
they did the heavy metal magazines and Judge Dredd.
Oh fuck, man. I don't.
It's a very niche. Don't worry about it. It's a very niche.
No, it's all good.
So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is actually pretty popular, but specifically the Stardust Crusader set goes for like a lot of money. Like, look, it's just one book went for nearly $100, and then you got like 1 through 8, 11 through 16, and 9 and 10 for like $350. And this was actually the most popular character from JoJo's Jotaro. Yeah, they do have very low production runs on DVDs and on Blu-rays as well. So like if you're ever thinking about buying anime Blu-rays, I know a lot of my friends bought the Chainsaw Man Blu-ray. But apparently Chainsaw Man didn't really sell well with Blu-rays. So they're probably not going to print more of that. So just be on the lookout for that. If you're a fan of Chainsaw Man, that could be like a collectible in the future.
Sure.
Just hit us with the next one. Inuyasha, a best offer accepted at $800, and a lot of 1 through 18 for $325. So everybody knows who Inuyasha is. This anime needs no introduction. This was kind of like when I was a kid. This was the big three. It was Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Dragon Ball Z were like the three big ones for everybody that was getting into anime. Rurouni Kenshin too, but we don't talk about Rurouni Kenshin anymore. So this is Spider-Man Fake Red. This is my review. I bought it. So Spider-Man Fake Red was a manga series that was coming out in Japan a few years ago. It was subsequently canceled due to low sales. So they moved it here. There was only one copy at Midtown Comics when I got it, so I don't think that they printed much of it. But what do you think of it? Did you read it?
I was gonna give it away today, or I was gonna give whoever wins their choice, but I'm not done reading it. Yeah. I just I'm about like growing the community and getting people into this stuff. So I feel the best way to do that is to give away for free, because there's no excuse when you read the stuff. It's cool, man. Like it reminds me of Ultimate Comics. Yeah, Michael Bendis did that, but with like Japanese culture, like parents and all that type of stuff. It's a little different. I still don't. I kind of mess up when I read it because the whole left to right type stuff, it just throws me off a little bit. But man, it's fun, man. I'll say I'm like this much into it, so I'll finish it this weekend. But afterwards, if whoever wins the giveaway, I'll either do that or I'll give away this Berserk. I didn't give away last time because we didn't have enough people on the show, but I'll do one today. But yeah, man, it's cool. I like it.
My issue with it was that it was too. I feel like it was too westernized for me. Like they added like with the rock climbing, like they get into very niche things. Like there's definitely manga about rock climbing, right? But I like how they put that little niche that Marvel themselves would never do.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that they leaned into like that Western side more. And it like I don't want their interpretation of what a Western comic book should be like. I want a wacky, Like I want a shonen battle and a manga with Spider-Man. You know, that's what I want because I like the story. I thought it was good, but I just felt like I could go to Midtown Comics and pick up a copy and get that same story.
Sure.
And I think they went that route maybe because, you know, the guy respects, you know, Spider-Man. It respects, you know, our stuff. So they wanted to do it like us to give us kind of like that respect. But it was good. I had just wished that they had leaned into it a little more like a shonen battle or a seinen or like whatever. But it definitely, it was good. There was another one called Deadpool Samurai, and it kind of leaned into what I wanted, but I didn't think it was good.
Why does it say number 6 invitation on there? I thought this was like a one book, or is there how many issues are in this?
No, this is all of it. This is all of it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Oh shit. Okay.
So to close everything out, we're gonna talk a little bit about some retro games. On the OTR chat, I mentioned to Vinny that Atlas games, that he should look into Atlas games because they come with a heavy premium. Like any Atlas game comes with like a super duper heavy premium. So this is one, Rule of Rose. Actually, this game is super low print. So if you find it sealed, it's worth like $1,000. And the reason for that is because when they were doing the promo for the game, it got banned in multiple countries because they thought the trailer was like children getting hurt and animals getting hurt and animals getting like unalived. Yeah, it was weird because it has none of that in the game.
Yeah.
But it's like a 1940s horror kind of feel. But you know, with that controversy and everything, it became a really low print game, and it has a cult following, and people really love it. They're spending $1,000 for it.
And that's sealed. Okay, so it's not CIB.
This is Alien for Nintendo DS. I think that's sealed, $179.99. So you gotta understand, there's no good Alien games. We have like 2. So when we finally got that one good Alien game for the Nintendo DS, everybody wanted it. Everybody. So if you could find this, somebody tried to sell me like just the cartridge for like $60, $70. I'm like, get out of my face! Like, what are you freaking charging me for the? But it's a good one.
That's funny you say that. We as like the people, we only got 2 good Alien games. I never played an Alien game before in my life, so that's all man.
Don't try and play all of them. This game is garbage. This game is like terrible. I don't know why it goes for this much. $500 sealed, $600 WADA 9.8. It's a 3D platformer with a little furry wolf and like a mini tank. And it's just like a 3D platformer. And I don't know. It's an Atlas game. It was published by Atlas in North America. I don't know why people want this. I'm trying to wrap my head on how a game so terrible could be $600. But I guess if you're like an Atlas completionist or something, this game is for you.
That's crazy, man. What is Atlas?
Atlas, they make games, they publish games. They made like a lot of really, really good RPGs. They were a part of the Shin Megami Tensei series and like the Persona, I think.
Okay. What's their Squaresoft's game is Final Fantasy? What's their game?
I think it's Persona. Hold on.
Persona?
I think so. Yeah, it's Persona. Yeah, I know I'm going crazy. It's Persona. I actually did this game. We spoke about this game. It was worth like $300.
Yeah.
Well, more than that. So that's Atlas's like crowning achievement, the Persona series. But yeah, man. So
oh, that's it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around. follow us on the gram, Fedora Kong, Furbird the Nerd. If you follow me, message me all your shows. I'll check them out. I'll support you. You support me. Let's make this happen.
Oh, Maxi's got a question for you, my friend.
I feel like I don't know. I don't really keep track of Alien games. I know they did Alien Isolation for PlayStation 4, and that one was really, really dope. But beyond that, like I'm not a huge enough Alien fan to know whether they did it or not. But I will say that Nintendo DS game is the best Alien game ever made. Well, maybe the Atari Jaguar one was pretty good too. Now that I think about it,
I'll take your word for that. I'm gonna be on lookout for that. I'm gonna we don't have a ton of people in the chat. I don't know if let's see here. Maxity, I think I sent you something before. Pickles, obviously. Southpaw, I think I sent you a few things. But Eduardo, I'm gonna pick you as our winner today. You were very supportive of the crew and asked a lot of good questions. So I'm gonna send you your pick of either Fake Red Spider-Man or the Berserk Blu-ray. I've seen this a few times. It's pretty good. I bought this used for $11.99, and we were just talking about just the fact of like actual media going down the road. It's probably going to be more digital stuff, right? So I just feel that anything that's like hard plastic, DVDs, or whatever, it's going to be a good collectible down the road versus like I still love comic books. I'm always going to, but I like to find something different and a little more niche. And manga's like got me so intrigued, but yeah, Eduardo, just hit me up on my Instagram. I'll hook you up with one of those. Just let me know which one you want. We'll get together and all that good stuff. But Fedora, always a great show, man. I really do enjoy, man, your shit, dude. It's always yep, sweet. Yeah, it's always I always learn something, man. And you always give me something that I'm excited about because I just don't know about it and it seems cool or like down my road and all that good stuff. So good discussion today too.
yeah, yeah. I think the Beckett stuff is interesting because I don't even know what they're doing with those black labels anymore. They're just giving them out.
Yeah, and it's like I get more anxiety honestly with PSA versus Beckett, and I emailed a Beckett representative the other day. I'll end it with this just for people that are grading, and the reason I want to talk about grading, I'm glad you brought it up as well, is that it's getting more expensive to grade. We're not getting good grades and all that, and if you're gonna do it, you want the best chance possible to make as much money as you can, or you like me. I'm gonna grade stuff that like I'll keep, so I won't like be that upset about having it. I prefer Beckett because one, it's a more well established company. They're like the second grader from my experience. I feel like CGC needs to stick to just doing video games and comics. Anything past that, they're just trying to get more revenue for the company. And they do an okay job of doing like the four different, like the edges, the centering, the surface, whatever, but it doesn't present as well as Beckett does, and if you're getting the second tier guy from the number one company, I don't want the second tier guy. I want the number one guy. And from my experience, the trading card game brand from CGC just doesn't sell as well as a Beckett pristine, like that black to me. And I get where like kind of the back end dealings of like, oh, we're, it's just, I just love that black. That black just shines so much better.
When you do subgrades on CGC, like I seen 2 cards sell. I forget what it was. I got into an argument with somebody on a Pokemon Facebook group because he was telling somebody you should pay for subgrades on CGC because you could get more money off the card. And I'm like, no, Like, that's not, no. And then I literally showed him a side-by-side screenshot of one with subgrades and one without subgrades. And the one with subgrades sold less than the one without subgrades. And I'm like, stop giving your money to CGC for subgrades. They already increased the price of grading. And then you're going to pay them more for subgrades? Like, you're losing. You're just burning money. You're just burning money at that point.
And I honestly can't say, because there's no like I would get in arguments, not arguments, just discussions with people with, you know, the CGC CBCS argument, right? You get a 9.8 CBCS, it's gonna sell $50 less than a CGC 9.8. It's just, that's what it's gonna do. And I'm not gonna come up with a reason for it. Preference for a CGC versus CBCS. I just like it better. I think it's better quality. When it comes to grading cards, though, grading cards, I prefer BGS because I think they do a better job of grading. Because they tell you what they're grading individually, and I can't think of anything else that they could grade other than the edges, corners, surface, and centering. I can't say if they're tougher because PSA doesn't break it down, so you don't really know what they're tougher on. You know what I mean? So, I feel like you get a better chance of getting a higher grade with BGS, even if they are tougher, because of the mid grades or the subgrades that you get versus a PSA. I don't know. I'd rather have it's kind of like, would you rather have a BGS 9.5 or PSA 9? I would say BGS 9.5 all day.
That'd probably go higher.
And some people even say, no, I'd rather have a PSA 9 versus a BGS 9.5. And I just think that's such
because
a weird thing to say.
If you buy the BGS 9.5 and you crack it, you send it to PSA, there's a good chance you'll get a 10.
And even then, I'd rather have a BGS 9.5 than a PSA 10. That's just my preference, though.
No, yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, like, it's everyone's cup of tea. But here's me buying PSA 10s of, like, autographs because, I don't know, it's a good deal. I guess it just depends on and yeah, I don't know. It's a funny discussion, and you know, the market could change in 2 or 3 years. Who knows? So
we'll end it with this. Yeah. Are you gonna grade with ARS, the Japanese grading company?
I don't know, man. It's, you know, with grading companies, they're now coming to more fruition, right? I'd probably grade Japanese cards with a Japanese company. That makes sense, but it's so new, and I don't understand the language. I know you can interpret it in, like, you know, technology and stuff, but like, I guess the market's gonna, and I'd want to see a few more examples of it.
The slab looks sick. The
slab looks clean. It looks cool. I thought that I would be annoyed with the on the back, and I actually am like, I'm okay with that. I have so much respect for Japanese culture. That there's a reason why they do certain things. They don't just do stuff just to do stuff. You know, it's just not in their culture. So one day I'll go there. One day we'll see. But anyway, well, cool, man. Always good stuff. We'll see you in a couple weeks or a month or whatever. I know you're super busy. Happy Father's Day to all the peeps in the chat, and a happy Father's Day to you, my friend.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to concert. A friend of mine, he's playing at Madison Square Garden. So cool. We're gonna go see him in like a skybox. I don't know what that is, but apparently there's gonna be food there. So
that food, man, food's You'll get, you don't worry about drinks or food or any of that good stuff. So I want to thank everyone for watching. Click that like button. Let everybody know what's going on. Wade, we missed you earlier in the show, but we'll see you next time. I am doing a show tomorrow morning. It's going to be video games and comic books part 2 with the market report. A little more niche stuff versus the common stuff we talked about last weekend. I will be with Renee, aka the Dragon's Den. So from that Discord, we'll be there tomorrow morning at 11:30. And you'll have a great weekend. Thanks again for supporting us, and we'll see you tomorrow.